Hello and welcome to another edition of Reminiscences. Again, this time from Sokoto, where we're in the home of Alhaji Idris Koko, Madawakin Gondu, who is a veteran civil servant who has served both the Northern Regional Government in many positions and the Sokoto State Government in many ministries as permanent secretary until he rose to be the head of the civil service. Many also remember him as a former minister under the government of Alhaji Shagari nearly 40 years ago, where he was Minister of Commerce and Industries. Alhaji Idris Koko, I would like to welcome you to Trust Television. Let me start by asking you about your educational background. I know you went to school in Koko. Can you tell us a bit about those early days?
Well, thank you very much for inviting me to talk to you on Trust TV. I start with my educational background. I was born in 1933 in Koko town, and I first went to Koko Elementary School for 4 years, to 1940 to 43. Early in 1944, I came to Sokoto Middle School, which was provincial school, which is now Nagrata College. I was at Sokoto Middle School for 5 years, removed class, middle 1, middle 2, middle 3, middle 4. I completed my secondary education in 1948. In 1949, I proceeded to Katsina Elementary Training College for the training of teachers with grade 2 teachers, grade 3 teacher certificate. I was there for 2 years. I started my teaching career in 1951 under Gwandu Native Authority, under the Emir, the famous Emir Sayahaya. I was there for 2 years. Then I proceeded to Katsina HTTC. It was called a Higher Teacher Training College. It was the highest training institution in the north in those days. All the provinces in the north sent their students there for a 2-year course to qualify for grade 2 teacher certificate. So I came to Binin Kebi in 1955 as a teacher, grade 2. And I had the fortune of passing through all my exams, and I got my grade 2. So I was teaching in secondary classes together with the British education officer in charge. Then in 1958, then the government of the Northern Region under Ahmadu Bello Sardoner devised what they call Administrative Service Training Course. It was a 1-year course intended to get the best of the qualified teachers or any other body with reasonable level of education to come at the Institute of Administration Zaria. The course was started in 1957 to 58. So I was there, I was posted to Igala Division.
So you passed and became ADO?
Pardon?
Did you become ADO?
I was ADO. We qualified as ADO in July 1979. And I was posted to Igala Division, which was then in all former Kabba province. It is in the present Kogi state, with headquarters at Lokoja. I was posted to Igala, Ida.
Was it strange, you coming from Sokoto, to be posted to an environment like the...
Yes.
Well, how did you cope?
Well, that was the policy of the Northern Region government. A man from Sokoto never served in Sokoto State. A man in Kano never served in Kano. A man in Borno is crisscross. From Sokoto, I went to Igala. Igala, Eddie will come to Zaria. A man from Zaria will go to Ilorin. A man from Ilorin will go to Katsina.
But how did you cope with the change?
Well, it was a very good system, because then I have the freedom, free hand, to do my job without fear or favor. I am in a new environment. I had all my education in Sokoto province, so it is a good chance for me to expose me. You made friends there, you know, you mix with the people, you learn their culture, their habits, you even know a bit of their language.
Was it the highlight of your career in that the civil service then, to be appointed the principal private, the private secretary to the Governor General?
No.
Sakashu?
No, after Igala, in 1960, immediately after independence, I was selected to go to London School of Economics and Political Science for a one-year course, which was devised by British government for young administrative officers from the former colonial territories. It was the first course. We are the foundation students. There are students from India, Pakistan, Nigeria, Ghana, these are West Indies, there are people from, some from Egypt, all the former colonial territories, or those had some kind of relationship with the British government. And we were there for 1 year.
How was the experience? Was it strange being in London? You're a black person then, when people are not used to black people?
Well, it is fantastic.
I see.
Because I always like family life. In those days, senior officers were allowed to go with their family. You can take your wife, London. And I hired a house owned by a Ghanaian. I was paying about £28 per month. Yeah. British Council was giving me the equivalent of my salary. And I lived typical life, so that I dedicated myself to my study.
So
because
you went with your wife to
yes, and our small boy.
Okay.
So I enjoyed family. I was always there. I concentrated on my studies, and I dedicated myself to that very course. Right. And I made it.
Was that qualification then the launch pad for you to go to the office of the Premier?
Well, certainly when I came back in 1961, at the end of the course, I was posted to the Ministry of Economic Planning under Alhaji Aliyu Akilu Tafi, who was also at the London School of Economics. He did his BSc Economics, and he was permanent secretary. It was at that stage I was posted. I got my first promotion, and I was posted to the government house as private secretary to the governor for 2 years.
We hear stories about those days that the Sardoners House, the Premier, is the gathering place, that everybody who is a senior civil servant must show up there and perhaps even eat there.
No, no, no. Many people have misunderstood Sardoner. Sardoner was a dedicated, very generous and hard-working politician. He was surrounded by classmates, people like Aliyu Makamambida, people like Alhaji Isa Kaita, people like Maikana Dutse, Sarkin Dutse, people like Abba Habib, Wadirin Dekwa, people like Sarkin Fladija and now Umar Babura. They are all products of Kaduna and Katsina College. They were colleagues with Sardoner. So he was living among equals. So there was no question of anybody thinking that Sardoner, he was premier, not because he was rich or he was that. It's a matter of personal merit. Among his colleagues, they agreed to appoint him the premier and serve under him. The permanent secretaries also, many of them were his colleagues at Kaduna College, people like Yahya Gusau, people like Ahmed Talib, people like Muhammad Lawan, who was also my permanent secretary. They were about the age group. So it was a group of highly educated people, very dedicated. And one good thing about it, Sardoner was there as premier up to the coup. Nobody, they accepted one another as colleagues, as equals, and nobody wanted to displace somebody. He was there.
But there was talk about some tension between him and Tafawa Balewa, and that's why Tafawa Balewa was pushed to Lagos.
That's a question of what?
Tension, the rivalry.
Accepted, no. I was here in middle school, Sokoto, in 1945, when the Second World War came to end. Hitler, Japan, and they were defeated. 1945. In 1946, Sir Arthur Richard, the governor of Nigeria then, introduced Richard Constitution, which initiated representative government in Nigeria. So the Richard Constitution, there were regional governments at Kaduna, Ibadan, and Enugu. And there was federal government. Abubakar Tafawa Balewa was one of the first educated northerners to be selected in 1946 to go to Lagos. Sardoner then was here. He was a councillor. Sardoner was not among the first set of northerners who went into politics in 1956. He was here in 1946, 1947, 1948. He was councillor of education.
In Sokoto here?
In Sokoto here. So he was not among the first politicians who went there. So there was no question, he was not there. But Abubakar Tafawa was the golden voice of the North. He led all the Northerners in Lagos as Prime Minister. In fact, a minister before he became Prime Minister. The representative for Sokoto in the State House, in the Regional House of State in Kaduna was Waziri Abbas, Waziri of Sokoto, not Sardoner. It was in 1948 that Waziri Abbas died. It became the opportunity for Sardoner to succeed him in the House of Assembly in Kaduna. So they have never shared a place. Sardoner was at the regional.
Yes.
Tafawa Balewa was in the federal.
Yeah,
And
the reference is when the NPC won the election nationally.
yes,
Rather than for the Sardoner as the leader of the party
yes.
to go and be Prime Minister, he now opted to stay in the region and send Tafawa Balewa.
No. It's a mistake. Sardoner sent it. He was there before Sardoner.
Okay.
When Sardoner came to 1948, the first time he got the chance of participating in politics, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa had been there 46, 47, 48, and he was the leader of the North in Lagos. So there is no question of Sardoner, because Sardoner was not even in Kaduna. How could he send Abubakar Tafawa to represent him there? It was a mistake on the part of people saying that he said.
What are the qualities of the Sardoner that made him this preeminent leader among such a group of very brilliant, well-educated people?
Well, as I told you, Sardoner is very intelligent. He is a man of tolerance. He is a man of... many people think that because Sardoner was from the family of someone Amfodio, he dominated everybody. That was wrong. Because Sakashi Ibrahim was the governor. And I know many times it was Sardoner who always came to the government house to greet Sakashim. I was always at the gate to receive him and to conduct him to the government office. So Sardoner was really easygoing person. He was, of course, he is a very strong character. He is very generous, and he is very intelligent. So he consolidated the unity of the North through Northernization policy. And Abubakar Tafawa Balewa was holding the federal government at the federal level. As far as I am concerned, I have never heard about any friction. Even the governor Sakashin Ibrahim, I can tell you, the politicians from the north, from other parts of Nigeria, when they saw that Nigeria was solid, Tafawa Balewa was in Lagos, Sardoner was in Kaduna, and they are running the regional government and the federal government. Tafawa Balewa established a broad-based government. He accommodated people from the east, people from the west, people from the Delta region. And he was a prime minister. I am not aware any northerner ever challenged him to step down for him. And he was an exemplary leader.
What is it that we all hear about this period when you are in Kaduna in the 60s? That is a period when the North was united, things were moving well. Why do you think we lost it? Why are we now in a different kind of situation in the North? What was it? Where did the problem begin?
Well, I must say, in those days, leadership was not on the basis of tons of money you have at your disposal. So Sardoner was there. Sardoner was not a rich man, but he's a man of trust and honor. When the British Secretary of War was going, there was question of appointing his successor. There are people like Ayabuso, people like Ahmed Talib, people like Ahmed Kumasi, who are of the same age group as Sardoner. But they said, no, we will not take this. Here is this young man, Alhaji Ilu, who was the first graduate in that government. They said, let him be secretary to the premier. We will serve under him. So it's not money. Tafawa Balewa was prime minister of Nigeria, not because he had money at his disposal, because of trust, because he is a very honest and dedicated politician. And for 20 years, they all had very stable governments. Everybody had confidence in people from the east, people from the west. Everybody respected Tafawa Balewa. The same thing in Sardoner. All the 10 provinces, you have the civil servants drawn from all over the north on equal basis. But today, unfortunately, as far as Shagari, when he was being selected as a president, it was not because he was rich. You go see his house here. Even the military, they have to build a house for him worthy of the status of former president. He didn't have money. He didn't want to be president. It was elders, people like Makama, and some of these elders, they say Shagari, among the people groomed by Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, you are the best. So come and lead. They didn't contest. They put forward Shagari because he is a dedicated, intelligent, and God-fearing leader. And he became the president. He defeated Awolo, he defeated Nnamdi Azikiwe. Not because he had tons of money.
But people will say the Shagari government failed. You are a member, you are a minister.
Pardon?
I say, the impression
yes.
that the Shagari government didn't succeed. It was like, it failed. That's why there was a coup.
No, I can tell you, there was no question of Shagari's government failed. During his second tenure, he removed all his ministers except 5 and all the rest he replaced them. He said, this time I'm going to sit and do my homework and get people who are dedicated, who are going to assist me to honor my pledge to live up to the expectation of Nigerians. And people like me, I just had my name over the air. And I was told to rush to Lagos. All my colleagues. He did his homework, and then he sent it to the Senate. And we had to go.
So you are surprised you are sitting in Sokoto and you have been made
I had my name over the air. Nobody consulted me. I didn't lobby. And all of us were like that. We wanted to, and it was screened. And I was appointed. He told me in privacy, he said, look, I know you are the kind of man who will not succumb to pressure. You will do things according to your conscience. I put it there because we had a lot of problems with import license. So I put you there.
Commerce and industry.
Commerce and the industry. And believe me, Naira then was the second strongest currency in the world. Only British pound. And even British pound, instead of 2 Naira to the pound, it is 1.5. The dollar is 1.3. Naira was stronger than the dollar. And they came, IMF, with a package of multi-billion loan for us, but on the condition that we will devaluate Naira. We said no on our dead body. He consulted all the experts and some of us on the cabinet who knew something about it. We said no. And it is one of the reasons why our government was overthrown, because we refused to devaluate the Naira. Buhari took over. And I think Buhari is equally dedicated. And they came to him with the same package. And he said, well, it was brought to Shagari's government, they rejected it. I consulted people who will not accept it. We will not devaluate the Naira, because Nigeria is a strong economy. And he refused. And he too, within just a year, he was overthrown. Then Babangida took over. And they came with the same proposal. You can see 3 consecutive governments. Devaluation, devaluation. It was a political and financial blunder that was ever committed in this country. Devaluation the Naira. I think we started with something, is it 10 Naira to a dollar? Of course, Babangida was in government for 9 years. But Nigeria, from its position to the second today, even the surrounding African countries, their currency is stronger than the Naira. It's a terrible mistake.
Yeah, but there is greater devaluation now under Buhari. I'm sure you have noticed. That there is greater devaluation now under Buhari.
Under
Buhari, under the present government. So I was saying there has been equally devaluation now under the government of Buhari.
How?
When he came in, the Naira was 165 thereabout.
160?
165.
No.
And now it's 400 plus.
What can we do? The economy has been weakened. And nobody will relax. America will never say, oh, well, it went up to 500 Naira to a dollar. Yeah. You don't think the America will come and say, oh, let's bring it down to 40. The first blunder we made during the time of President, when we devaluated the Naira. And it is not easy for us to catch up.
What do you make of the current situation under President Buhari in the country?
What do
you make of the current situation under President Buhari?
Well, I'm very sorry for him. There's accumulation of all sorts of things. There's Boko Haram, there was kidnapping, there was this unemployment, there's all sorts of sabotaging government, attacking pipelines, this kind of declaration of Biafra. It's too much for anybody. I think General Buhari, we are lucky that he is a strong character. And he faced the situation with courage. And people gave him support. And he became president. And a lot, all these people, Adamawa, Borno, part of Bauchi, they were under Boko Haram. They have been cleared. Even the efforts they are making now, even in Western Sokoto, we are clearing them. And they are moving to other areas. I think we should give General Buhari a pat on the back.
Elders like you consulted by the governments, either at the state level or the federal level, about to share your experience how to solve these problems?
No, I retired from service 1983. So I have been, of course, been on the NMPC board of directors. I was chairman of Gamji Bank here in Sokoto. I was a director of a cement company. I was also director of Bank of the North, the Ahmadu Bello House you see in Kano, that massive building. Yes. It was built during our time when Waziri Ibrahim was our chairman. I have been participating in my little way. Unfortunately now at the age of 89, there is very little I can do. Even the ACF, I was a member of the board of trustees. Ahmadu Bello Foundation, I was the chairman of contact committee. Until we launched it, all the governors in the north, they came and it was put in place to consolidate the unity and progress of the north. I was a member of the Northern Union under late Dr. Abubakar Saraki, father of Bukola. And we toured all the states and tried to consolidate the unity of the North. And I'm glad North is still, to a certain extent, politically united.
So what do you do now in your retirement? You mostly you are not engaged in public life now. How do you spend your typical day in retirement?
Well, I'm still attending my Quranic lessons. I still go to the mosque. I pray from my seat. I read a lot. I enjoy reading Holy Quran, though now my sight is, well, I still can see. And I try to talk to people when they come to me.
You launched a book, which I've just seen.
Yes.
You know, what's the idea? I mean, is it a biography? Is it something you want to use to teach the younger generation?
Yes, I want civil service to be insulated from partisan politics. Civil servants are involved. They participate actively, openly in political activities, which is wrong. They are supposed to advise the politician to the best of their ability. Tell them the bitter truth, not be party.
Let me ask you about family life. You said earlier you are a very dedicated family man. Can you tell us a little bit about your family life?
Pardon?
About your family life.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, I have always been even wherever I go. I make sure that I go with my family. Even I told you I was in London, a young man of about 26, but I wanted to be accompanied by my wife because I enjoy family life. To tie myself to the family, dedicate myself to them, and attend my studies, and I was successful. Unfortunately, I lost 3 of my wives. They are all dead. May Allah forgive them. And they gave me support. They tolerated me, and I always said, I enjoy my life, I have educated my children, and I am very grateful to members of my family for tolerating me and the exercise patience that within our family affairs, within the limit of my legitimate income. My background in administration were taught in Kaduna. Sardoner was always telling us, Abubakar Imam, the chairman of the PSC, he said, you are going to be in position of honor. You will go and shake hands with the Sultan, with the Sheikh of Borno, with the Emir of Kano. You are going to replace British officers. So you must be careful. You must adopt our traditional moral values. You must be above reproach. Your character, your behavior must be that will conform to the teachings of Islam. And I'm always under that impression that I must do my best. I say what I can do for the country, not what I can get out of the position, public position. When we first came here, all permanent secretaries, I was living in 2-bedroom house. All my houses, when the coup occurred in 1960, were arrested, and I declared all my property. And they found that they are all loans from the banks. And they said, these are not your houses. I said, yes. They went there and saw the certificate. So I was released. The same with Shehu Shagari.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, viewers. We are speaking to Alhaji Idris Koko, a veteran civil servant who, as you have heard, has seen Nigeria from the time before independence to now. We wish you, sir, a long life and more service to the country. Viewers, thank you for joining us until another edition of Reminiscences.